This video is for our 6.4 day 2 notes. We are on the back side starting with number 7. So what we have here is a problem that has two fractions and the denominators are different. So we're still trying to rewrite these into standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. So remember, our goal is to get the number without variables alone on one side of the equation. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of the fraction when the denominators are different. So the first thing we want to do is look at what our denominators are. They're 2 and 4. So you can kind of think about this a couple of ways. We want to find the least common multiple of 4 and 2. It's the same process as if I asked you to find a common denominator. So if I said, what's the common denominator between 4 and 2? Hopefully you would say 4. The least common multiple is also 4. If you're not sure, we can look at each of these numbers and find the multiples. So multiples of 2 would mean 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, 2 times 4, etc. Multiples of 4 would be 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 4 times 3, etc. And we're looking for the smallest number that they have in common. The smallest number that they have in common is 4. So that's why the least common multiple is 4. When in doubt, just multiply the two together. If you're having a hard time getting the least common multiple, you can just multiply the two denominators together. And in this case, we get 8. It's not the smallest number they have in common, but it is still a number they have in common. So you will still get a version of the correct answer. I would like you to try your best to get the least common multiple, but if it's getting tough, then just multiply the two denominators together and that will be okay. So we said that our least common multiple is 4. That's the number that you're going to multiply by, the entire equation, which means we have to distribute. 4 times y is 4y. 4 times negative 3 over 4 is negative 3x. You can use your calculator. 4 times 5 over 2 is 10. Now we don't have any fractions, and now we're trying to get that 10 by itself. So we have to add 3x to both sides. We write the x's first, so we have 3x, then plus the 4y equals 10. And now that problem's done. For number 8, we have two fractions and the denominators are different. So the goal is that I want you to find the least common multiple, or in other words, find a common denominator. In this case, it will be 8 because 4 times 2 is 8. Just a little hint, whatever you pick as your least common multiple cannot be smaller than either of the numbers. So for example, if I said the least common multiple is 4, that can't work because 4 is less than 8. So whichever number you pick as your least common multiple, it cannot be smaller than either of the numbers. So we're going to multiply everything by 8, which means we have to distribute. 8 times y is 8y. 8 times 1 over 8 is 1, and there's an x. 8 times negative 3 over 4 is negative 6. Now the goal is to try to get the negative 6 by itself. So we have to subtract x from both sides. We have a negative x plus 8y equals negative 6. Now, number 9, we only have one fraction. So we only have to multiply by the denominator of that fraction. So we're multiplying everything by 7. So we have 7y equals 7 times 3 over 7 is 3, and there's an x. 7 times 5 is 35. We're trying to get the 35 by itself, so we have to subtract 3x from both sides. We have negative 3x, then plus 7y equals 35. Number 10. We are back to an example where we have two denominators and they are different. So we need to find the least common multiple between 6 and 2. The least common multiple is 6. So remember, the number that you pick cannot be smaller than those two numbers. 6 times 1 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6. So this is the least common multiple, which means we're going to multiply everything by 6. So 6 is going to distribute. So we have 6y equals negative 5x plus 9. Now we're trying to get the 9 by itself. So we have to add 5x to both sides. And we have 5x plus 6y equals 9. Number 11, we have two fractions and the denominators are different. So we need to find the least common multiple between both of these. Let's write this one out. So 4, we have 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 4 times 3. I'm going to stop because I noticed 12 there. And if I start doing the common multiples for 12, well, 12 times 1 is 12. So I can stop because there's your least common multiple. It's 12. So we're going to multiply everything by 12. 12 times y is 12y. 12 times 7 over 4x is 21x. And 12 times 1 over 12 is 1. Now my goal is to get this 1 by itself, so I have to subtract 21x from both sides. And I have the negative 21x first. Then I have the plus 12y equals 1. And the last example is number 12. So our two fractions have different denominators, a 3 and a 2, and we need to find the least common multiple. So for the number 3, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, etc. For 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to stop because I noticed there's a number they have in common. So the least common multiple is 6. So we're going to multiply everything by 6. So I have 6y equals negative 4x plus 21. I'm just distributing there. Remember, you can use your calculator to help you with the fractions. And then we're going to divide. Oops, I'm sorry. That's not what we're doing. We are going to get this 21 by itself. So we have to add 4x to both sides. And we have the 4x. And then we have the 6y. And then we have the 21.